Let me take you back for a moment. I was 20 years old, broke, uncertain, and standing in front of a cracked mirror in my mama's house. I had just bombed an audition. You know, the kind where you walk out before they even finish saying thank you. I was staring at that mirror like it owed me an explanation, and I didn't like what I saw, not because of how I looked, but because of what I believed about myself. See, nobody teaches you how to talk to yourself. We learn how to compare, how to criticize, how to second guess, but not how to stand firm, not how to look ourselves in the eye and speak life. So that day, I said something out loud for the first time in my life. 3 simple words: I am enough. It didn't sound poetic. It didn't echo like some perfect movie line, but it cracked something open in me. Because here's the truth: the world will always tell you you're missing something. That you gotta be taller, smarter, richer, prettier, more polished, more connected, more whatever the hell they decide that day. It's a system designed to keep you hustling for your worth. But let me tell you, your worth ain't up for debate. You were born with it, built into your DNA, stamped by your creator. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about identity, a deep-rooted knowing that you're not here by accident, that you don't need to perform for love or prove yourself to belong. You walk into rooms like you own your space because you do. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real, you're growing, you're showing up. Every time I've gotten close to a breakthrough in my life, whether it was acting, relationships, or just surviving tough seasons, it started with me silencing the noise, shutting the door, and reminding myself, you are enough. Even when you don't feel it. Even when you fall short. Even when you're still healing from what they said. From what you said, say it anyway, because your soul believes what it hears consistently. So make sure it hears truth every single day. I am enough. Let that be your foundation, your anchor, your comeback line when doubt tries to steal your voice, and when the world forgets your value. You don't. Let me tell you something. Life doesn't always show up with a smile. It'll throw things at you that make you question everything. People you love will leave. Opportunities will slip through your fingers, and some days, it'll feel like the ground you're standing on is cracking beneath you. I've been there. There was a time when someone close to me let me down in a way I didn't see coming. I trusted them. I believed in them. And when they turned their back on me, it felt personal. It felt like betrayal. I was angry, hurt, and I carried that bitterness with me like armor. But you know what I learned? Bitterness might protect you from more pain, but it also blocks you from healing. It hardens your heart until you forget what peace even feels like. One night, I sat alone in silence. No cameras, no spotlight, no applause. Just me and that heavy feeling in my chest. And I heard this small voice inside say, "You don't have to carry this." That voice wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic, but it was honest, and it changed something in me. From that moment, I made a choice. Not to let what happened to me become who I am. I made a choice to grow, to stretch, to learn. Not to sink into the bitterness that was trying to define me. I started saying this out loud every day. I am becoming better, not bitter. Like a promise, like a contract with my future self. Because here's the thing. Pain is part of the process, but suffering is optional. You can take what hurt you and turn it into something holy. You can take rejection and shape it into redirection. You can take every loss, every scar, and turn it into wisdom if you choose growth over grudges. Bitterness will tell you to build walls, but getting better, that builds bridges, to peace, to purpose, to you. So every day you wake up, remind yourself, what happened may not be your fault, but how you move forward. That's your power. You can't always control what breaks your heart, but you can decide what grows from the cracks. You're becoming better, not bitter, and that right there, that's strength, that's courage, that's growth in its most beautiful form. Life doesn't ask if you're ready, it just shows up, with storms, with setbacks, with pressure that'll try to fold you. And in those moments, when everything in you wants to quit, when the mountain looks too high, when the weight feels too heavy, that's when this truth has to rise up in you. I can do hard things. I've had nights where I sat in silence, questioning why I even started. Times when I felt like I was failing in front of everyone, when the camera was rolling and my confidence wasn't. I remember a scene I had to shoot. Simple on paper, but for some reason, I just couldn't get it right. We did take after take. The director was patient, but I could feel the pressure building. My mind started spiraling. You're slipping. Maybe you're not cut out for this. But then I paused. I took a breath. And I reminded myself, you've been here before. You've climbed out before. You can do this. That wasn't just a motivational line. That was a memory. A memory of every time I made it through something I once thought would break me. That's what I can do hard things is. It's not about pretending things don't hurt or aren't tough. It's about knowing you've survived hard things already. You've cried and still kept moving. You've lost and still showed up. You've doubted yourself but didn't quit. This ain't about being fearless. It's about being faithful. Faithful to your calling, your potential, your purpose. Some of the most beautiful parts of your life will come from the hardest things you ever had to do. That difficult conversation you finally had, that addiction you faced, that chapter you had to close so a better one could begin. Every time you feel the resistance, every time you hear that voice telling you it's too much, that's when you lean in. That's when you stop running from the challenge and remind yourself that growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes wrapped in sweat, sacrifice, and struggle. You were built for more than easy. You were built to endure, to overcome, to transform. So when life pushes, you don't retreat. You square up, breathe deep, and say it out loud. I can do hard things, not because it's easy, but because it matters. Everywhere you go, you're bringing something with you, a presence, an energy. You might not see it, but people feel it. You walk into a room, and before you even say a word, you're already saying something. That's the power of energy. It's louder than your voice, and it speaks the truth whether you like it or not. I had to learn this the hard way. Early in my career, I'd walk on set thinking, just focus on your lines, hit your marks, do your job. But I was carrying stuff. Stress, insecurity, the weight of things I hadn't dealt with, and people could feel it. The energy was off, and it affected the work. I realized I couldn't just prepare my craft. I had to prepare my spirit. I had to be responsible for what I was carrying because it was spilling out whether I knew it or not. We live in a world that's always trying to shift our energy, throwing distractions at us, negativity, comparison, pressure. But here's what most folks don't realize. Your energy is your responsibility, not your boss's, not your spouse's, not the person who cut you off in traffic, yours. That means every morning you've got a choice. You can let the world dictate how you feel, or you can decide who you want to be before you even step out the door. It starts with checking in with yourself. Not your phone, not the headlines. You, what am I carrying today? Is it peace or resentment? Is it joy or judgment? Because whatever it is, that's what you're bringing with you. And what you bring into a room, into a conversation, into your craft, it matters. There have been moments I've had to pause midday and say, hold on, this isn't the energy I want to show up with. And that takes maturity, that takes self-awareness. It takes humility to admit that maybe your energy needs adjusting. But that's what real growth looks like. Not just changing your circumstances, but changing how you carry yourself through them. You can be the thermostat or the thermometer. One reacts, the other sets the tone. So be the one who lifts the space, who calms the chaos, who brings light when the room feels heavy. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. You just need to be aligned with purpose, with peace, with who you really are. Because every day, whether you realize it or not, you're leading with your energy. So protect it, cultivate it, own it. There's something that happens when you step into a room and you start to question if you belong there. When your hands start to sweat, your voice gets tight, and your mind starts feeding you lies like, you're not qualified, or they're going to find out you don't belong. That voice, that's the imposter talking. And if you're not careful, it'll talk you out of your own destiny. I remember standing on a set early in my career, surrounded by actors I had looked up to for years. People with accolades, with names that carried weight. I was the new guy. I was quiet, unsure. I started shrinking. Not because anyone told me I didn't belong, but because I hadn't yet told myself that I did. It wasn't until I started looking around and realizing, wait a minute, No one gave me this role as a favor. I earned it. I worked for it. I sacrificed for it. That was the moment I reminded myself I deserve to be here. That's not arrogance. That's ownership. That's walking into a space knowing that your story, your scars, your sweat, they got you through the door. So don't discredit yourself just because your path didn't look like theirs. Maybe you took longer to get here. Maybe you had to fight through things nobody else saw. But you got here. That means something. And let's be honest. Most of the people you think are so confident, they've got their own doubts, their own fears. The difference is, some of them have just learned how to silence that inner critic and speak truth louder than the lies. And that's what you've got to do every day. Remind yourself that you are not less than. Not lucky, not a mistake. You're meant to be in the rooms your purpose walks you into. You deserve to learn. You deserve to contribute. You deserve to take up space without apology. Because when you walk in believing you belong, everything shifts. Your voice gets stronger. Your ideas come through clearer. Your presence commands respect. Because you respect yourself first. So when the fear creeps in, when the doubt whispers, when you're tempted to shrink or play small, don't. Stand tall, hold your head up, and say it like a truth you refuse to forget. I deserve to be here, and act like it every single time. Now listen. Before you walk out of here, before you scroll to the next thing, I want you to sit with this. The world's going to test you. It's going to try and shake you, distract you, make you forget who you are. But you've got the power to answer back. Not with noise, not with ego, but with truth. The kind of truth that doesn't depend on applause. The kind that's rooted in who you are when no one's watching. These 9 things we talked about, they're not just words. They're not just feel good phrases to post on a wall or tag on your story. They're tools. Weapons, daily reminders to carry with you like armor, because life won't always be easy, but it will be yours if you choose to own it. Look in the mirror every day and speak with intention. Speak with faith. Speak with fire, because if you don't tell yourself who you are, the world will do it for you, and the world's version will never be big enough for your purpose. So wake up tomorrow, early, tired, uncertain, and say it anyway. Say it until your spirit believes it. Say it until your steps reflect it. Say it until the life you live starts to echo the truth you've been declaring all along. You are enough. You're becoming better. You can do hard things. You carry the energy. You deserve to be here. Your failures teach you. You live in gratitude. You are still growing, and God's got you. Speak those words. Live those words. And then go show the world what happens when someone decides to believe in themselves every single day. Thank you.